A century of controversy, the Balfour Declaration. The Balfour Declaration stands as a pivotal document in the history of the Middle East. This seemingly simple declaration, contained in a single letter, has had profound and far-reaching consequences. Issued by the British government in 1917, it pledged support for the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. This declaration, made during the tumult of World War I, would reshape the political landscape of the region and ignite a century of conflict. The Balfour Declaration was more than just a statement of intent. It represented a convergence of British strategic interests, Zionist aspirations, and a disregard for the rights of the Palestinian people. This essay will delve into the historical context surrounding the declaration, examining its motivations, implementation, and enduring legacy. At the heart of this exploration lies the Palestinian perspective, a narrative often overshadowed by the dominant historical discourse. The declaration, viewed by Palestinians as a betrayal of their homeland, ignited a struggle for self-determination that continues to this day. By understanding the Palestinian experience, we can better grasp the complexities of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and the ongoing quest for justice and peace. The Balfour Declaration serves as a potent reminder of the enduring impact of historical injustices. Its legacy continues to shape the realities of the Middle East, highlighting the urgent need for a just and lasting resolution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The Great War and the promise of a homeland. The year 1917 marked a turning point in World War I. Europe was engulfed in a bloody conflict. Britain, locked in a desperate struggle against the Central Powers, sought any advantage that could tip the scales in its favor. It was in this context of global war and strategic maneuvering that the Balfour Declaration emerged. The Zionist movement, advocating for a Jewish state in Palestine, saw an opportunity in Britain's wartime predicament. Zionist leaders, believing in the strategic importance of Palestine, lobbied the British government for support. They argued that a Jewish presence in Palestine would bolster British influence in the region, particularly along the crucial Suez Canal route. Britain, grappling with the demands of war, saw potential in the Zionist proposal. The declaration, seen as a way to secure Jewish support for the Allied war effort, was also perceived as a means to further British imperial interests in the Middle East. International endorsement and the mandate system. The Balfour Declaration, initially a unilateral declaration by the British government, soon gained international recognition. Following World War I, the victorious Allied powers convened to redraw the map of the defeated Ottoman Empire. The League of Nations, established in the aftermath of the war, created a system of mandates to administer territories deemed unprepared for immediate independence. In 1922, the League of Nations granted Britain a mandate over Palestine. The mandate explicitly incorporated the Balfour Declaration, formalizing international support for the establishment of a Jewish national home in Palestine. This internationalization of the declaration had profound consequences for the Palestinian people. The mandate, while acknowledging the civil and religious rights of the non-Jewish population, prioritized the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Jewish people. This prioritization, enshrined in international law, paved the way for large-scale Jewish immigration to Palestine, further displacing the indigenous Palestinian population. A promise betrayed, the Palestinian perspective. The Balfour Declaration, hailed as a triumph by Zionists, was a catastrophe for the Palestinian people. They, the majority population of Palestine, were rendered invisible in the declaration's text, their political and national rights entirely disregarded. The declaration, promising a homeland for one people, spelled dispossession and displacement for another. Palestinians, witnessing the influx of Jewish immigrants and the erosion of their own rights, viewed the declaration as a betrayal by the British. They had been promised independence by the British during the war, only to see their aspirations dashed by the promise made to the Zionists. This perceived betrayal fueled Palestinian resistance to British rule and Zionist aspirations. The declaration ignited Palestinian nationalism, uniting disparate factions in opposition to British colonialism and Zionist settlement. It marked the beginning of a long and arduous struggle for self-determination, a struggle that continues to this day. Section 5. Seeds of Discord, British Duplicity and Rising Tensions. The British, caught between their commitments to both Zionists and Arabs, found themselves navigating an increasingly untenable situation. Their policy in Palestine, characterized by ambiguity and contradiction, only exacerbated tensions between the two communities. While publicly advocating for Jewish immigration and land purchase, the British privately assured Arab leaders that their rights would be protected. This duplicity, evident in conflicting promises made to both sides, eroded trust in British authority. The British, attempting to appease both parties, ultimately satisfied neither. The stage was set for escalating violence and conflict. As Jewish immigration increased and Zionist institutions gained strength, Palestinian resistance intensified. Armed revolts, met with brutal British repression, shook the foundations of British rule. Palestine, once envisioned as a peaceful haven for both Jews and Arabs, descended into a cycle of violence and recrimination. Section 6. The Legacy of Balfour. A century of conflict. The consequences of the Balfour Declaration reverberate to this day. It laid the groundwork for the creation of the State of Israel in 1948, an event accompanied by the mass displacement of Palestinians known as the Nakba, or catastrophe. The declaration, intended to resolve one conflict, became a catalyst for another, far more enduring and intractable. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict, rooted in the competing claims to the same land, stands as a stark reminder of the declaration's legacy. The displacement of Palestinians, the denial of their right to self-determination, and the ongoing occupation of Palestinian territories are all consequences, directly or indirectly, of the Balfour Declaration. The declaration's centenary in 2017 sparked renewed debate about its legacy. Palestinians and their supporters called for an apology from the British government, arguing that Britain must acknowledge its historical responsibility for the injustices inflicted upon the Palestinian people. Section 7. Echoes of Injustice, Contemporary Perspectives on the Declaration. The Balfour Declaration continues to be a source of contention and debate in the 21st century. While some view it as a historical document with limited relevance to contemporary events, others argue that its legacy continues to shape the realities of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Palestinian activists and scholars point to the declaration as a prime example of colonial injustice. They argue that it represents a historical wrong that needs to be acknowledged and addressed. The ongoing occupation of Palestinian territories, the expansion of Israeli settlements, and the denial of Palestinian refugee rights are all seen as manifestations of the declaration's enduring legacy. The call for an apology from the British government for its role in the Palestinian tragedy has gained momentum in recent years. Palestinian leaders and human rights organizations argue that such an apology would be a crucial step towards acknowledging past injustices and creating a more just future for Palestinians. Section 8 calls for accountability and justice. The centenary of the Balfour Declaration in 2017 witnessed renewed calls for accountability and justice. Palestinian civil society organizations launched campaigns demanding an apology from the British government. They argue that acknowledging the historical wrong committed against the Palestinian people is a necessary step towards achieving a just and lasting peace in the region. These calls for accountability extend beyond symbolic gestures. Palestinians are demanding concrete actions to address the ongoing injustices they face. This includes ending the Israeli occupation, dismantling the settlement enterprise, and upholding the right of return for Palestinian refugees. The international community is being urged to play a more proactive role in resolving the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. This includes holding Israel accountable for its violations of international law and supporting Palestinian self-determination. Section 9. The Balfour Declaration, a reckoning with the past, a vision for the future. The Balfour Declaration stands as a stark reminder of the enduring impact of colonialism and the importance of historical reckoning. A century after its issuance, its legacy continues to shape the lives and destinies of millions of people in the Middle East and beyond. The Palestinian struggle for freedom and justice, ignited by the Declaration, remains unresolved. The quest for a just and lasting peace, one that upholds the rights and dignity of both Palestinians and Israelis, remains elusive. As we move forward, it is imperative to acknowledge the historical injustices that have fueled this conflict. Recognizing the Palestinian narrative, understanding the enduring legacy of the Balfour Declaration, and working towards a future based on equality and self-determination are essential steps on the path to peace.